Hi, what's good, man? We are back with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, man. And this is episode 16. So we've been here for 16 weeks, man. 4 months. It's lit. And we back with another episode. Before we get into that, I'm gonna let everybody introduce themselves. My name is Showtime Slim, man. Who else we got in the building?
It's art, man.
Yo, it's motherfucking Black Rootz in this bitch. I'm not as drunk as I should be, but I'm on the way.
Fucking maniac.
Let's go, Bob Celeste. I'm the best. Yo, you already know what it is.
You sound like a sheep.
The new John Wick movie's dropping soon. Thinking about getting into a little bit of a series with that. Definitely wanted to bring it up real quickly before we continue because I'm feeling like we gotta be on this. We talk about this nigga John Wick a lot.
All right, we got other people in the building. So who might they be?
Creative choice Kaleb, man. Sorcerer supreme of this dimension is lit. Let's talk about some magic.
We had other people.
Big pot of greed has returned. Lordy Lord. This movie is ass and fire at the same time. Let's go.
Oh.
All right, man. And FDub picked this movie, but unfortunately he is not here at this time. So
Nigga ran for the hills.
Red Glass, aka Black Shirt Guy. Red Glass?
Did you just call me?
Yeah, Red Glass.
Nigga, get your fucking name right.
Come on, man. Y'all change y'all name so
It's
much.
Red Grass, aka Black Rootz, aka the Black Shirt Guy, aka Black Magic. Brand new name alert. Yeah. Anyway,
The
this
Blackest.
motherfucking movie is about two motherfuckers, right?
Say the name of the movie.
They some musicians and shit. They some aspiring musicians. And
The
they
name of the movie, bro.
motherfucking.
Oh, wait, what?
Oh.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Yo, it's The Prestige.
Let him
First of all.
cook.
The movie is The Prestige.
Bro, let me say the shit, bro.
You just called them. You just called them musicians, brother.
I did. All
Let
right,
him
bro,
cook.
look. All right, let me go back. Let me cook, bro. Like if I fuck up on the sauce,
All right,
like
well,
I'll
don't
fix
edit
it,
this
nigga. Like
out.
damn, don't edit this shit out at all. Facts. Anyway, it's two motherfucking magicians. They're aspiring magicians, and they trying to be professional musicians. I said it again. That's crazy. Magicians. They're learning. You know, they want to perfect their craft. You know, of being illusionists, and you know, make this a profession and be famous for this shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know, they come across some shit, and they end up being enemies at the end of the day, and shit kind of get crazy. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna leave it because I can't give my opinion on this shit yet.
That's a good summary, bro.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I fuck with it.
Were they aspiring or were they already kind
They
of
were
successful?
apprentices.
Well, they
were
yo,
No, they was there.
motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And they was
Yeah.
out there trying to like invent some shit that nobody had ever seen before. You know what I'm saying? Hugh Jackman plays Angier. You know, Christian Bale plays Borden. And, you know, they was working with Angier's wife up there. You know, she was the assistant. You know, and I guess we can go ahead and get into it.
It was Scarlett
Hey,
Scarlett
what's
Johansson, right?
what's
No,
that
not
man's
his
brother's
wife.
name?
Hold on, yo.
Oh no. Oh no, I'm sorry. No, that wasn't Scarlett Johansson. The one
Yeah.
that
I don't know her name.
It's Alfred.
Quick
Alfred. Root.
question, real quick. What's Batman's butler's name?
Alfred.
Alfred.
Nah, nigga, in real life, like what's his real name? Michael Caine. I fuck with Michael Caine in this movie. I will say that.
He was one of,
I fuck with him.
But he was, in my opinion,
nah, he was
one of the
ass.
best parts of this movie.
He was a piece of shit. I hated him.
Okay, well, we'll get into that here in a second. But right, so they have little, you know, the tricks that they do where, you know, they put his wife in the box of water and shit. They tie her hands and she supposed to like make her way out that bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Do you want to start with the very beginning though?
Gordon say, I got a better idea of how to do this shit.
You're not gonna explain the Prestige first, KTL?
What do I need to explain the Prestige, brother?
That's the name of the
They
movie.
explained it 40 fucking times. You got to show them
Yeah.
this. Then it disappear, but they
Yeah,
don't
so-
it don't disappear. You
Oh,
gotta show them it.
What you clowning for? Yeah, I got it. So basically, with a magic trick, they tell us at the beginning of the movie, you have 3 parts. You got Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Act 1 is where you kind of
It's
the
the
pledge. It's called the pledge, yeah. And it's where you reveal something to the audience. Whether it be like a bird, a person, something, whatever. Yeah, just like an ordinary thing. Then you got Act 2, which is the turn, and the turn is where something happens, like you make a person disappear, or they made
Saw
a
a
bird
person in half
disappear.
or some shit.
Yeah, whatever the trick is, like that's the turn. And then lastly, Act 3 is the prestige, and that is like the resolution, kind of where they say you
bring
bring the
something
person back. Yeah, whatever it is, you bring it back.
Yeah, you undo whatever the fuck you did.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So as I was saying, right, you know what I'm saying? She gets put in the little glass box, and Borden thinks he has a lot better idea of how to make that shit work. And they tell him, no, that's not you trying to do it. It's too dangerous and some shit, But she thinks she can do it. He thinks that it's a good idea. So at one point, I don't know if it's ever fully explained, but it all goes wrong, man. Dude wife drowns in the box before they can get her out. And, that leads to a lot of resentment between these former coworkers / I don't know, friends or what.
What's to explain though? So
Can I say-
so basically what it was,
Because he said he don't know what kind of knot he tied, Slim.
yeah, this is the thing. I'm not gonna get into that just yet, but like KTL said, and y'all kind of said first, like about it being aspiring, not musicians, but magicians. Yeah,
Fuck
so
you.
they was both working together as kind of like KTL said, as apprentices with this other magician who was more established. So they both came up under the same magician, pause. And
Right. Okay.
then the little accident happened where in a trick that they used to do all the time, the guy's wife ends up drowning because she can't get a loose from the knot.
Mm-hmm.
And so
And there lies my first question
Which knot did you
/ problem.
tie?
Oh boy, go ahead.
I can answer
So,
that question, but I'll answer it later.
If
You don't even know his question. How you gonna answer?
can we put let's put a time period on this real quick. This is like during the beginning of
1800s.
electricity, and so
1800s.
this is okay. So cool. This is in the 1800s.
Yeah.
This bitch, sorry, Angier's wife.
No, she's a bitch.
Her job is to be fully, completely submerged in a box of water for at least 60 seconds, and then get out of it.
Correct.
Why the fuck is she only able to hold her breath for a minute?
Small amount. Yep.
And this is your profession. You've been doing this for a while. You've been doing this for a long fucking time. You mean to tell me that you can't hold your, because it took 30 seconds for them to get her out of the shit completely. You couldn't hold your breath for a minute and 30 seconds? As a professional, you're pretty much a professional fucking diver at this point. You ain't trained yourself to hold your motherfucking breath for a minute, 30 seconds?
Rootz. The
Man.
problem with that is she was a magician's assistant. She's an assistant. And so what her job wasn't just to go inside of a tank, but that was one of the tricks they did. So she goes inside of the tank, they tie a knot, but it's a trick, it's magic. And so what she does is she escapes every time. She's not used to being in that position where she has to breathe underwater because she always gets out every time.
Once she realized she couldn't escape, she panicked and like, oh shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the 1800s wasn't the beginning of illusionism and magic and all of that shit. Niggas had been doing that shit for a while beforehand. This was just starting to be a thing that they put in theaters and houses and on stage and shit. Niggas were still doing this shit on the street prior to that. So there's no reason for her, even if she's an assistant, there's no reason why she can't hold her breath for at least 2 fucking minutes.
Because she never has
to. With Rootz, but
That's
also
not
I
what
think
she
that they
said.
set that as the precedent through the whole movie. So I have less of a problem with it because everybody's a fucking idiot, not just one person.
It doesn't make her an idiot because she didn't do something that she's not supposed to do.
She doesn't.
Well, no,
She didn't do something that she should be trained to do.
She's not practicing on.
Trained people mess up all the time.
Why is she not?
Not even. She's
Why
not
is she not?
practicing on fucking her breathing.
Thank you, Pujols.
She's
But
not
they studied this motherfucking. They studied this knot and it's still fucked up. But
no, they didn't fuck up.
She's not focused on holding her breath. She's focusing on escaping the tied knot, bro.
Thank you, Pujols.
Do you not have to hold your fucking breath while you're tying the knot?
No, you do, but that's not her main shit. She's usually able to get out within a minute.
I was gonna say, I don't know.
Well, that's why she died.
I don't know if there was.
She was focused on the knot and not her breath.
I don't know if there was different versions of the tank, but I'm pretty sure that John Cutter explains that the structure of it is so that there's like a little slipway for you
Exactly.
to get out of from, right? So the thing was like kind of designed with like, you know, a way
fail
of getting out of it. Yeah, fail safe. And so I
Mhm.
think like her certainty about that, you know, they never implemented anything to sort of prepare her for like long-term treading, holding breath, or like breath capacity training. Like I don't think that was
Yeah,
really
because
on the
she wasn't
table.
supposed to. That wasn't the point of the trick. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's plausible that maybe she just wasn't prepared for that type of situation, and clearly neither were they. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
foolish shit going on with that situation, but you know, that gets
Proper
expanded on later.
preparation prevents poor performance.
So right.
That's
Let's
all I'm
let's not dwell on it too much, right? So they move on, you know what I'm saying? And motherfuckers,
Hold
they
on, bro.
got a
Before that,
go
can
ahead.
I ask something real fast?
Yes,
Like,
sir.
they fail safe was to fucking hit that bitch with an axe. Why didn't they have like a key to unlock it? Just in
Yeah,
case.
Well, also, why didn't
that
they
would be
just hit
a
the
bigger
lock with
problem.
a fucking axe?
That would be a bigger problem right there, Rootz. Like I'm not like, first of all, the nigga ain't even know I'm not. He tied. Like, well, I'm pretty sure he did. I think I don't know if he was that.
Well, no, because we'll get to that later on. But I don't think he did.
But like that, like yeah, I think he did. I think he did it on purpose.
No,
But
well, all right.
Hold on, just
hold on a
keep going.
second. I
Keep
feel
going
like
with what y'all talking about right now. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
because
like
I
I'm not
honestly
gonna be
feel
like
like
I'm not gonna be mad at my wife for not breathing right when the nigga tied the wrong knot. Like
Or when I don't got a fail safe key to open the fucking lock. Why is it an X, bro? Why is it not a key?
no,
I think
these
it's
niggas dumb as hell. These niggas dumb as hell doing that though. Yeah,
it's
So
important to remember, yo,
and he
like
did it. And he did
they're
it
not.
twice in the movie.
This isn't like your typical chronological movie though. Like y'all do,
Mhm.
or I feel like you should cover that the revelations in this movie come in the form of like kind of
Flashback.
repetitive flashback, and
Mhm.
you know, the real status of the story when we get it is actually that already one of the partners is in prison, right?
Mhm.
Border is
And the other
aborting
one
or whatever his
Yeah.
name is.
is dead. You know.
Right. Yeah, and
But
Borden, the other one, his wife was killed by him.
But yeah. So like I say, let's not dwell on it. Let's move forward, right? So Angier is, obsessed. He's like wildly obsessed with like what the fuck happened. He pissed about wife and some old shit. You know what I'm saying? So he's like trying to figure some shit out. Now they've gone their separate ways, doing magic shows wherever the fuck they can. And Borden's got his little tricks that he does. He
Hey,
like
Tia,
clicks some rings together, catches a bullet and some old shit. Yes.
before you get to that, I kind of want to mention because the part where we talked about where his wife died, I don't think that was the exact beginning of their rivalry. However, it kind of led into it because you remember they had the
Yeah.
funeral scene, and the funeral scene, he kind
He
of
asked him what type
confronted
of
him about
knot
it.
he tied and some shit.
Yeah, and he didn't give him the answer that he wanted, and I feel like that's what kind of escalated it to where
Oh yeah,
That's
they got.
definitely what escalated. In which I don't know what type of mind state you have to be in to tie a knot, and this is not a joke at all. But in a high, maybe in a high traumatic or high anxiety type of situation, you tend to forget things that happened just previously. So I don't necessarily believe that he either did it on
Well,
purpose or
I have
he's
a theory
not
about that.
saying on purpose.
I got a theory
Yeah,
about that shit,
yeah.
but I'm
Let's kind of
waiting a
go
little
through
bit.
this real quick so we can kind
So,
of get back to
right.
talking about everything.
Angier pulls up, you know what I'm saying? Borden supposed to be doing this little fake bullet catching trick where he shows how it works and he explains the risks and shit. Angier comes in with a disguise or whatever, and he has a gun, you know what I'm saying? He asks him again, and the guy says he don't know. A scuffle ensues and he ends up shooting off two of Borden fingers. So now
Because
it's
Fallon, because of Fallon,
on.
he would
Yeah,
have killed him if not for Fallon.
yeah, now it's on, you know what I'm saying? Now they like really like have a rivalry, like motherfuckers, it's going back and forth. They like invent some tricks, they go and fuck each other's shows up, you know what I'm saying? Trying to steal some shit.
Show up, Wolf.
This little matter of fact, I'm gonna let us get to the next thing. Now, go ahead.
You finna talk about how petty this whole shit is?
Well, that is something else that just I was like, this shit's stupid as fuck. But go ahead. It's
the main
next
crux of the point, it leads up, they fucking each other's shit up till one day, Borden has created an amazing trick where he sets up two cabinets. Huh?
You skip where I was gonna go. Okay, after
Okay,
dude pull up with his little disguise and shoot bro in the fingers, Next, Burden, he pull up and what did he do? He make somebody he fucked somebody.
He had
finger?
the
So
made
so it
little
was the
made
bird
thing
cage
and made
shit.
that woman break her fingers with that shit.
Okay, now growing a beard make you like not look the same? How many times?
Hey, bro. Hey,
Like,
bro,
bro,
when
what the
Shorty, when
I
fuck?
think
Shorty was
that's a
help,
question for those
when
of us
Shorty was
without
helping them
beards in here.
when Shorty was helping them put the disguise on, she gonna say, "Yeah, you're gonna need a better disguise." Nigga put a
Mhm.
Hulk Hogan mustache on.
Yeah.
That shit was ass, bro.
He said, and he said after he shot,
Popping up
"I seen it coming.
with
I should have
fucking
known." Hell yeah, you should have. Like,
Nah,
Niggas
them
just
shits work.
popping up,
Listen, bro,
bro.
that's the thing. The
You
disguises
grow
like
a beard,
work every time.
you
It's a
grow a
beard,
beard,
a
throw some glasses
mustache,
on,
and a
bro.
hat, bro.
So I'll say this, y'all. I'll say this about it.
I
So
wouldn't recognize Slim if he didn't wear his hat. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro.
yeah. So let me say this about that first. Because the way they kind of did this movie, it was like they was kind of giving us like different timelines all at once. And so we was
Right.
like getting flashbacks. They was going
Yeah,
back to the
yeah.
present, different thing. And so with these shows that they were doing, it definitely was like time in between them. And so I figure, somebody come in with a disguise. I don't think you'll be able to notice them at every show you do because they did multiple shows in between. They just ended up popping up at, one of each other shows type shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I feel like they kind of, I kind of get it how maybe they didn't know that the person was going to be in the crowd and then
that's cool.
that person volunteers, out of nowhere
How
because
do
they always
they
like.
choose that same volunteer every time, Slim?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, let's just say like Borden, when he first did his, what's the first one he did with the bullet?
Yeah, he
Let's
tough.
say he did that show like 50
Well, to
times
be
already.
fair, at that point, dude actually looked like wholly different. He had his hair long and like a beard. He looked like a fucking homeless man or some shit. Like,
Yeah, but I'm just making the example. Let's just say they did the show like 50 times. That means he's picked the like volunteers, every show to do this same trick. And
Yeah.
so one of those shows, Algier, I always get his name fucked up.
Angier.
Angier, yeah,
Or
because
Angier.
Algiers is a place in Louisiana. I'll be fucking it up. So Angiers, let's just say like he comes to like one of those shows out of the 50. He picks volunteers every time. All of a sudden, Angiers volunteers to put the thing in the bullet. He probably just thinks it's just another volunteer, like a regular guy.
volunteers.
Boy, this is
Yeah,
some
that
bitch
name
ass,
fucking me up.
petty ass movie. Boy, these motherfuckers here, man, they was
It's crazy. All right, so I also wanted to know this too. Like I don't Angier is Hugh Jackman, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was it got to a point where as though he was trying to get revenge on dude for doing what he did to his wife.
Yep.
But towards like the more he went, it stopped being about that. It started being about straight up.
Oh, yeah, at one point he literally says that
He straight up just
He
said it.
don't
Like
give a fuck about his wife. He
he
cared about
he thought about it for a minute. Like,
bitch ass nigga, bro.
Nigga said, I'm trying to get to the
we gonna
cash
get
and
to
get
that
famous,
point.
nigga.
and you know what? And at that moment, my bad. At that moment, you start like not even wanting to root for the nigga no more. You want to root.
Hey, Art, I was never. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I agree.
We can have this
Hey,
debate
Phil.
later, but I was always rooting for the other motherfucker. I
Yeah,
was
Ooh, Angier, boy.
I wasn't
I don't
rooting
know.
for either
I was going back.
nobody.
I wasn't
Yeah, me
rooting
either. I
for
wasn't
either
rooting
of them, but like I was like, okay, I think he's got a better point here. You know what I'm
So
saying?
look, KTL, before we get too far into that, I want to go back and mention something. I kind of mentioned it when we was talking about it. So that whole scene with the bullet trick, he was aiming at Borden. He was aiming at him. I feel like he was gonna kill him.
He was trying to kill him, yeah.
And something we didn't really talk about, Borden has this assistant. His name is Fallon, who always goes around with him.
He was one of the best characters in the movie too.
And so Fallon saw him they both recognized him at the same time. And so Fallon kind of ran over to Angier. Yeah. He ran over to Angier and he kind of stopped him from shooting dude like, point blank range type shit.
From killing them dead and shit.
Yeah, and that's how he got shot in his fingers. And so I wanted to mention that about Fallon because we didn't really bring him up, and he's an important character.
All right, so he's got, Borden got this mystifying trick where he sets up two cabinets, for lack of a better term, and he walks into one of them, throws a rubber bouncing ball across the stage, and walks out the other one and catches that hoe. You know what I'm
Transported man.
saying? Yeah.
Transported man.
Correct. Yes. And you know, like for the life of him, Angier can't figure out how that shit works. So, you know, he's what was Michael Caine's character? Cutter? That was his name, right?
Yep.
Cutter, yeah.
Yeah. So Cutter, you know, he goes and like consults him and he tells him, he's like, no, you know, he's got a double. You know, like that's the way that this shit. He said, no, I've watched it. You know, there's no way.
Nigga Wolverine got pissed.
And also,
Yeah, he was mad as a motherfucker, boy.
and also,
That's
also
too
like
simple.
like as far as the double thing, like they was kept like kind of hammering that
Hell
subject
yeah.
on
Yeah, it
With
was the
the- with
same
the birds.
conversation
It
between the two of them.
Like they went and found,
with
you know,
the
a
birds.
fucking,
Remember the birds? They was doing that with that too. Like it was
They
like
found
it
it.
was.
They went and found a drunk ass actor and he did it himself, bro. He had his own little double and shit. After all that shit that he,
And look,
pitched a fit about,
like
he went and did it himself.
Well,
you know?
KTL, what he told him, he was like, so Cutter was telling him the entire time, he was like, yeah, he got a double. And Jerry's like, nah, it's no way he got a double. I seen it myself. And so what he was telling him was, like, he told him at one point, he said, you can either do it my way, like I said, with a double, or you can, whatever the fuck the alternative was, I don't remember. But he gave him an ultimatum. He's like, you can do it my way, like I said, with a double, or else whatever the fuck, kick rocks or some shit. And so he ended up doing it with the double.
It was a young man's game, some shit like that.
No, that was later.
That was later. So he ended up doing it with the double, but you know, that's not what he wanted. He didn't want that. He wanted to figure out exactly how Borden did it because he didn't think Borden was
get into that, right? Because like that's where another aspect of the bitch assness comes in, right? He did, you know, they train this drunk ass actor, you know what I'm saying, make him figure out how to be.
Yo, this nigga doing the transported man trick.
Walks out that bitch, right? You know, and
you cut out, bro.
Yeah, what did you say?
Cut out. You got to go back.
Run it back.
I said the motherfucker falls through a trap door and the other motherfucker goes up the little lift and, you know what I'm saying, walks out, right? So they do the trick a bunch of times and Angier bitch ass start getting mad because he don't get to be the one seeing everybody clapping some shit. Motherfucker mad because he up underneath the stage, bro. I'm like, that's whack as fuck to me, man.
In which he showed his frustration with that
trick, man. Like,
but this is the thing. He showed his frustration with that, but that was his thing for it. Like at the end of the movie, he explains that it's the faces, it's the faces, it's seeing the crowd, you know, their excitement or their confusion or their reaction to the shit.
And that's another avoidable thing. If he would have just been content, we might not have had to deal with the rest of this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but we did have to deal with the rest of the movie because
right.
You know,
yeah, so you know what I'm saying?
I did want to point out some outside of the movie shit. Y'all realize how often this nigga Christian Bale is locked up in his fucking movies, bro? This nigga always in a fucking jail cell somewhere.
He's a menace to society. That's what he is.
Bro, look, Batman, he gets tossed down the fucking cave. Motherfucking, he's in Shaft, pause if necessary. He get locked up for being a racist and killing a black dude. Fucking what is it? American Psycho, he ended up going to jail for killing a bunch of fucking people.
No,
like this always in. Did he not go to jail today?
Hell no, he didn't. He got away with that shit in that movie.
Oh well, he was just a killing piece of shit. Like okay, so like, but like this nigga's always in chains or behind bars, bro.
Yeah, he's a menace, dog. Somebody needs to get rid of
that was the other one. Fighter. He was with Mark Wahlberg. He was a fucking junkie that kept getting locked up.
No, oh yeah, that's a good point. But no, I wanted to like the unpredictable but yet predictable things in the movie that like once the movie start off with Christian Bale on trial for killing Hugh Jackman. Sorry if I don't know these characters' names, but yeah, he on trial for. But as soon as I realized they was musicians, I'm like, all right, I understand this was about to happen. Somehow Hugh Jackman's not dead.
Did the same thing I did. Nobody said anything. Fuck y'all. You said musicians instead of magicians, bro.
I literally just
we know we talking about right
now.
now.
I like doing it no more.
But look, yeah. Then I definitely understood that what was going to happen when the body double came into play. I'm like, all right, that's definitely about to be what happened. But then after that, it kind of took a turn and stuff started getting unpredictable again. So that's why.
Let's fast forward, KT.
Yeah, I'm literally just trying to like get through the whole movie, then we can give our opinion on everything, right? So you know what I'm saying? Borden like fucks up the whole trick that Angier does. You know, he causes the stunt double to like fuck off. He steals his business. You know what I'm saying? And now
Well, you forgot the
Angier
girl.
starts tripping, man.
That's
You
one
know,
thing.
well,
You
yeah,
forgot the girl.
yeah, yes, you know, yeah. So like Scarlett, but this is where it happens, right? Scarlett
Nah, because
Johansson,
she
you know
helped
what I'm
him hire
saying,
the
is the
actress.
magician's assistant.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her, one of the best
She's
bitches
so
in the
goddamn
game.
fine, boy.
Yep,
Shit.
she
I
is.
love that bitch.
She is.
But you know what I'm saying? So I don't even remember her name. What was it? Sarah? Sarah was her name, right?
No,
Olivia?
No, Sarah was
Olivia.
His wife?
Sarah
No,
was the
Alfred.
Olivia
wife.
was his
Sarah was
wife, right?
Alfred's wife.
No,
Sarah was
no.
Alfred's wife.
Okay.
KTL.
No,
Sarah
Olivia
was
was
the
the
wife.
mistress.
Yeah, it's not
Yes.
it's not even worth right. So she, you know what I'm saying, gets sent as a double triple agent, you know what I'm saying? She's supposed to go infiltrate the Borden operation and some more shit, you know, but ends up like double triple crossing, you know, you never know who's really who in this shit, right? You know, she's basically just Black Widow but British. But right. So she you know, so Angier starts losing his shit, man. They start, you know, doing all type of shit. They're kidnapping assistants and burying them. They're stealing journals and wrecking some shit, you know, breaking people's shit.
Chaos.
And so finally, he ends up having to go see Nikola Tesla, man. You know, it's a whole
in
setup.
Colorado.
That's a fact. Shout out to Nikola Tesla. I think that was the most interesting part of this movie for me was that, you know, they was all involved in shit. You know, that Edison and Tesla and shit, right?
I'm gonna be like, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Oh no, I was gonna say like the Nikola Tesla part kind of like they could have easily just replaced Nikola Tesla with some other fake Nikola Tesla based
Why don't you
inventor
like the real shit?
cut because it was just I don't know, a lot of that was just kind of kept going back
It
to
was a
him.
reach to
You
try
felt
to
like it was
connect things
forced
to
into the
reality.
They kept
movie.
going
It was
back
a
there
reach to try to connect things to reality. That's all it was.
actually
That's fair.
I like Andy Serkis's character that was his Nikola Tesla's
assistant or something.
assistant or what, like, and Andy Serkis is a real good actor too. He always get like plays CGI characters. He don't ever really get credit for his actual acting skills. But no, yeah, but like that
Heck,
could have been like
he was in Black Panther and he didn't get no credit for that shit neither.
yeah.
He wasn't
No, like
CGI at all.
but Nikola Tesla, like it was just like he's like Bruce said, it was the like bring him to reality, which is crazy because that's the most unrealistic thing in the movie is all the Nikola Tesla shit. So
I disagree.
All the Tesla shit.
I disagree with that.
How do you disagree? Like he's the one that caused him to teleport.
Well, so the reason I disagree with that is because one thing that I think that did is it kind of helps you realize the time that they're in. And so when you have this Tesla versus Edison feud, it puts you in that, like, you know, time period. So you know exactly where you are because this is going on. Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla. That's a
but
real
I knew they was in the
thing.
1800s automatically though. But
yeah, I'm just saying. So I feel like you kind of, you know, you alluded to it before the podcast. They had like the whole thing with Tesla, the electricity and everything, which that's actually a real Tesla concept. That's basically with the electricity and everything that was just going everywhere. That's the Tesla coil, which is a real thing. And so they incorporated that into the movie. As far as the transportation shit, like the transporting stuff. I don't know.
Cloning shit. That's what it was.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's real or not, but you know, I don't think it took away because it's actually like it's a magic movie. You know, it's about magicians.
But at the same time, all the magicians, like all of the magic tricks that they did, they had a reason behind. They had all their tricks revealed.
And you're saying because this was a piece of like real.
It was
like,
science.
They tried to make this like this little electricity is the reason that I'm teleporting. Yeah, this is science. No, that's not how this worked. No.
Well, so what it was they kind of said it at the beginning, like you know, they started from the part where Michael Caine was talking to the guy and he was trying to buy all of the magician stuff that Angier had left behind. And he told him, he was like, you know, everything except this, because like this is not fake, like this is real. And he told him a wizard had built it, like it's actually real. It's not just no magician shit. And so I feel like you know, he was trying to look for something to one up Borden, and he was like, okay, I can't one up him with magician shit because we didn't talk about it, but Borden was the better magician in this situation.
He was, and that's one thing that they kind of describe with his character is that he was a natural I said it again. Fucking
musician.
magician. He was a natural magician. Like he grew up in this shit.
Hey, Rootz, yeah, he was the better musician. Ooh, you got me saying that.
Ah,
He was
got you, bitch.
he was the better magician, and they kind of pointed out that Angier was the better showman. Like he was able to sell the shit better on stage than Borden could.
Right.
And so those were the two distinctions that they had. But he was not as good of a magician as Borden was. So he was trying to look for something to one up dude, and he was like, I can't do it when it comes to magic, so I gotta go and look for some other shit. And so I think it was Cutter. He sent them to like this science
Colorado.
No, not before that. They went to this.
Oh yeah, no, there was a show. Yeah, there was a show where they was using the same concept.
Yeah, and that's where he found out about that shit. So he kind of did incorporate science into it, but I feel like they explained all of that. I don't think it was just thrown in there.
Yeah, they explained it, but I think the part of throwing it in there where art is coming from is it's the same way that I feel, where it's like, okay, this is a bunch of magic. We're looking at a bunch of magic shit, and then they sprinkle this fucking sci-fi bullshit in there because that's what it is. It's fucking science fiction. Because you have science elements, but it's fucking the outcomes are fake. There is no
Allegedly.
fucking Tesla didn't accidentally make a fucking cloning machine.
Allegedly.
Like that's not a fucking thing.
Allegedly.
All right, if you believe that, you go ahead and storm Area 51 and you find out.
That's all I said. Allegedly.
But anyway,
Tesla was trying to give niggas free energy, and they said, "Fuck no!" They took that shit away. So I don't know what that nigga built.
So that's my same issue with it. Is just this shit seems real left field. Like why the fuck? Okay, y'all two. Nobodies basically in fucking wherever the fuck they at trying to be magicians and shit, and then y'all just stumble across a fucking cloning machine. Like this shit it don't seem like it should be in the timeline that they're fucking in. Now they make it make sense because Tesla versus Edison was a thing, and they brought up the fact that Edison had henchmen that he was sending the fuck up Tesla shit, which I feel like that's gangsta ass shit. But they try to make it not as much of a reach by putting all this fluff behind it, but at the same time, at the end of the day, it's a reach, bro. Like that's what it is. It's fucking reach. We're watching a fucking magic movie. You dump some fucking sci-fi shit in there just to try to I don't woo niggas. I guess
I don't mind it that much. I don't think it ruined the movie at all. I like the movie better when it was more grounded.
Yeah, I will say that the Tesla thing was like central to the story because it was like a medium for like the main character's desire to be successful magicians. Part of the appeal and like the thing they're trying to catch is like being able to show people something they haven't seen something like before, right? So like the object of their like mission is really to go to any means possible to quote unquote get their hands dirty, right? To produce, good magic. And so Tesla might have been introduced in this film and they might have altered some historical details to make his part in this movie, substantial. I feel like it was just, part of the goal of them showing in the movie that these dudes went to any length, even consulting Tesla himself to build a machine for their magic show, son, So it's a little flair.
I also think that this movie does not work, or you don't complete this movie without having the Tesla element in it, because I feel like that's the main part of like what happened. And somebody can just go ahead and finish off the summary because KTL left, but we'll talk about it.
Where did he leave off at?
Shit, I don't remember.
I don't think it's necessary to go through the entire movie step by step.
But we can go to the end of it, like we can finish it off.
Well, there was a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. What's his name? Borden stumbles across. There's a female at one of his shows that he's being an assistant at, has a kid with him, has a kid with her. The kid's like, "Oh, you killed the bird," and no. Which I think was kind of cool because like even the kid saw like the fake in the shit. Like you killed the bird and this is another bird. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
thought that part was cool that the kid could even see that shit, being a kid. But at the same time, to get to the point that I'm at, he falls in love with this Sarah girl or whatever, and they fast forward a little bit and they say, I guess I love you for the first time, or at some point, it was the first time we see it. And she's like, you don't mean it. And this just gave me like, I don't know, like woman logic vibes, cause she was just like, oh no, I don't know. There are some days where you love me and there are some days where you love magic. Bitch, why I can't love both? What the fuck is wrong with you?
She's not
So
implying that. I just feel like he wasn't maintaining a balance for her, right? Like,
Yeah, that's
which
all. Yeah,
which
that's all.
because
which I
to be
guess is
honest,
understood, but
he
bitch,
knocked her
like
up.
this is
He
my
knocked
fucking
her
And
life.
up,
and
and
that goes with
he,
the
he
twist too.
the day
Thank you,
she
Art.
came home, the
Continue.
day she came home to tell him that she was pregnant, he
Yep.
already had his boss up in there talking about some. Yeah, hun, he's gonna live with us, like, and don't worry, I'm gonna make more, so we'll be able to feed him as well. She's like, well, you're gonna have to do that for somebody else, you're having a baby. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, fake
yeah.
ass, happiness, so
All right, so look, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just go ahead and just say everything that happened from that point to the end. So basically, like he gets married to Sarah, they have a child. He has his assistant who he's also having an affair with, and that situation is going on. And his wife says what she says, like he said, nah, you don't love me all the time. You love me sometime, but you love magic more than me. Cause like, I like seeing the difference. Like I like seeing the difference, like when you love me and then on the days when you don't love me as much or when you love magic more or whatever. Um, at some point, his wife confronts him again, and she basically is like, no secrets, no games or whatever. Because what he said was interesting. I don't know if anybody caught what he said. He told her, they had like this little argument or whatever, and then he told Fallon, who was his assistant, he was like, hey man, I need you to help me, like convince her that I love her or whatever. And so whenever they come back to that couple and their situation, she's like, like tell me, like she was like, I know who you are. That's what she said. I know what you are or whatever. And like no secrets, no tricks, no game, whatever. Do you love me or whatever? And he tells her, no, not today. And so
Yeah,
he
right.
goes
He
and
said
commits
that.
suicide. She kills herself,
Stupid,
and
super stupid.
then she kills
Dumb,
herself.
Hey man.
dumb
Hey man.
reply. Dumb reply to that comment. Like, didn't make any sense to me.
Hold on, let me finish it off, Bruce. Pause.
Sorry, go ahead.
So she kills herself, and then he goes and talks to his assistant. The assistant was like, "Yeah, your wife, you don't care about like your wife just died, whatever she was telling him." And he was like, "Yeah, she said she was gonna come see me before she died, but I was too scared, to go see her or whatever the fuck." And so she ends up leaving him too, or
yeah,
whatever,
she said some shit like,
That was like
I
one of
just
my favorite
imagine
scenes.
you in another restaurant talking to another
and the
woman
same
like
thing.
me, saying the
Mm-hmm.
same shit
Yeah,
about me.
that was the
Yo,
realest shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
she but it's like kind of ridiculous in a way because she did spend most of the movie being like a two-faced slut, like for her own, like, personal
Not
gain. Like
even Two Face. She was
she
straight up.
I,
When you're with me,
well,
leave
here's
your
the thing,
family at
right?
home.
See, the thing is like she secured, Algier or Algier. Sorry, what was his name?
Angier.
Angier. I'm
It's
sorry.
confusing.
Wolverine.
It's confusing.
Angier. And her had a thing going on. He sends her off on the mission. This
Yep.
is a point of departure for her. All right, he's getting a little crazy right now. I'm not even having fun no more. I'm gonna
Yep.
go over here, tell him everything he was doing. Now she's riding again. He was crumbling when she left. So
So
Oh
so
yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So she
Okay, I
seems
see what
to
you're saying
actually
now with the
move
Two
to a
Face.
more convenient situation every time. You know what
I
I'm saying?
disagree, Luno. What
Uh-huh.
happened in my perspective, because she said something that kind of gave me a different perspective. So she liked Angier, like you said, they was kind of fucking with each other. And what Angier? Was that the original one? Yeah. And so he sent her over there to Borden, like you said, as like a double agent, go back and tell him that you want to work for him and get his secrets and give them to me or whatever. And she went over there and she gets to telling Borden that. And then she kind of confesses, like, no, that's what he told me to tell you. But honestly, you know, she was hurt. She basically told him she was hurt because she loved dude and he sent her away like she wasn't shit. And so that's, I think, what the change was. It wasn't the fact that she was just switching up. I think she was just bitter and hurt. And so she
Okay, so you
switched
think
up.
it was mostly emotionally directed?
Yeah, I think it was emotions why she switched. And then once she got over there with Borton, you know, she started to fall for him. And she even told what's his name, that Angier, she told him that once she came back and delivered him a journal or a diary. And she was like, yeah, I am. I fall in love with him or something like that. So I feel like it was an emotional thing for her. And I don't think she ever switched back up, because actually what she did was she delivered a fake journal, a fake diary to him. It wasn't even a real one. So what I get from that is she was on Borton's side the whole time once she got over there. Like,
Yeah.
she never switched back and forth. She stayed on his side, and she set Angier up by giving him that fake ass diary that he was
Bro,
over
you
there
know what
reading.
this movie,
Which
movie
was
remind me
super
of?
fire to me.
It's sort
The
of
reveal
interesting that one there.
the
Yeah.
diary was the reveal that the diary was fake was
Mhm.
like super fire. Like, I wrote in my notes, and
Yeah.
Jir got duped, and that
Hey,
joke was
Rootz,
hilarious, bro.
you know what they did? They revealed that the diary was fake, and in a different timeline, we were also getting to see Borton was reading a note or something, a letter. It was something he was
It was
It was a
reading.
letter
it was
sent by
also
one of the
yeah.
Algiers that were created by the
Yeah,
teleporter machine. Yeah.
yeah, it was a letter from one of those, and he
One of them
realizes
was
that.
outside of the jail cell, like watching him and writing or some shit like that, or like it was one of them that was like present when he was like incarcerated
I
to
started
like be
getting a
able
little
to
confused
Right,
at
detail it.
that part.
right, and
Yeah.
you know what happened? Like, he revealed basically while reading, oh, Angier really wrote this, and he planned this, and what he told him was, you're sitting in your cell right now for my murder or whatever. He basically described that, okay, I'm setting you up and you're gonna rot in jail or get the death penalty for this type of shit.
But one thing that
Mhm.
is impressive is that the name Mr. Cudlow, I think, was introduced in the movie throughout. Like we
It,
get
it
Mr.
started
Lord
Cudlow's name
Kudlow, yeah.
it
yeah,
started at the
early.
beginning. Like, they
So
opened it up with that.
isn't it kind of interesting that Mr. Cudlow ends up being Algier in the end?
Yeah, I think what it is it's that thing where they're doing with these, they're telling us different timelines all at once. And so
Yeah.
this is my second time watching this movie. The first time I was confused because of that. And so
No, I understand now, obviously, because we're telling it, okay, from
yeah,
the perspective of the present, which is him about to be hung for the crime of whatever, whatever. Okay, yeah. So already by now, the Algiers have been created, and one of them is Mr. Cudlow, right?
and
But
also
yeah,
by this point we've seen everything, which I guess you don't realize it when you first watching it, but they showed us everything at the beginning. We saw
Yeah.
the fucking hats, you know, the fucking duplicates of the hats outside. That was like in the opening scene. We saw the fucking him inside of the tank, like he's being killed, like he's dying inside of the tank. They opened up the
Right.
movie with that as well. We saw everything from the beginning, but you know, we don't know at this point because we're just finding out what the fuck is going on.
Yeah,
So
and they do it. It's weird. So like they do that, right? And then they continue that timeline, but intermittently while telling the backstory of everything
right,
else. And
right.
I don't. That's another part that I didn't like. Like, there's no clear depiction of what happened when. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna, it feels like they're purposely trying to confuse you by telling you all of these stories at once.
So I'll
Like
say this, Root.
that irritated me.
I understood it better the second time, but I was definitely confused the first time because you don't know when you're watching what you're watching because
Yeah, like
they
that seems like that's why they put like whenever they do a scene transition in different movies, they put where exactly they are, what time frame this is, like 23 days later or some shit like that. You know, like just
so this is one of those movies kind of like Memento. I don't know if y'all seen Memento, but even more than Memento. What Memento does, I don't want to tell it just in case people watch it, but with this one is even more than what Memento does because it's telling like three at least different things all at once. Memento is something that tells two things all at once. So they're telling us what happened from the beginning, where they're showing us the end of the movie first, Like the first thing we see is the end of the movie, damn near.
Mhm.
Then we see him in court, which has to happen after all of these events. So like
Right.
KTL and Luno said, it's a flashbacks that they keep showing us. So it's kind of confusing how it jumps
Yeah, it wasn't
around.
a linear movie.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, so basically I already said it pretty much. Like he got framed for the murder of Angiers. And so what happened with that was Angier had his new machine from Tesla, and it was a hit all over London or wherever they were. I believe it might have been London or something. And he went to a show because he was like, yeah, we done, because I don't know how he do this new shit. He told Fallon, yeah, we done with this shit. And so he just goes to a show and he sees Angier doing the trick. And he goes up once again as a volunteer to, like, you know, inspect the fucking machine. And once he inspects the machine, instead of going back to his seat, what he does is slips backstage, which I don't know how he got backstage without people seeing that shit. But he definitely slipped backstage. And then he goes back by the trap door. He sees the tank and
Oh,
he's standing there.
He
And all of us,
got backstage because he remember the dude, he tried to stop him. He was like, "Oh, I'm a part of the act, nigga." Like,
yeah, but I'm talking about how people in the crowd didn't see, like, how did niggas not see this nigga make a turn right here? He didn't go back to his seat.
They probably want to go rat on him, bro. They
What
probably
you
ain't
want
care.
him to do? Like say he didn't
No,
go back?
no. What I'm saying is, because he was on stage checking the machine, right? It was like him and I guess some other people on stage inspecting the machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I assume after everybody inspect the machine, you know, they walk back and get in their seat to watch the show. However, he walked back down, but he made a turn. He like, and I'm thinking like, okay, it's like a crowd of people, right? And it's this magician up here. Nobody saw him make that turn off the stage, like
But
not to
what
go
was
back
they
to his
supposed
seat.
to do though?
Yeah, nah, that shit definitely was not slick.
Well, that's like a security thing right there, Pua. But I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like he
that nigga tried. Hey, where you going? Hey, I'm part of the show, bitch ass nigga. And he let him go.
yeah, but it just
Oh,
seems
that
like
nigga.
nobody saw him slip away, and I feel like he was in front of everybody when he did it. That's
Who
what
was-
I'm looking at.
But if I'm with like people and I'm on stage, I don't give a fuck what the nigga next to me finna go do. I'm finna go back to my seat and watch this shit. I'm not looking at this nigga trying to like go do no
I
other
don't
shit.
know about that. Especially, well, so I can see maybe Angiers wasn't looking, even though he knew what was going to happen clearly because it was set up. That's also something else too.
And
Like
Jid
this
didn't
shit
give
was
a fuck. He
orchestrated.
knew he was killing the shit out. You know what I'm saying? He already knew what was going on. He didn't give a fuck. Go down there, Goofy.
Yeah, and so he went down there, and all of a sudden he sees Angiers drop into the tank, and he tries to help him actually, which is a turn of events, because from the beginning of the movie we see the scene and he's just standing in front of the tank while Angiers is banging on the tank trying to get out type shit, and he's just standing there looking at him. So I think that kind of gives us like a perception of like, oh yeah, this nigga might have just killed this nigga. Like he got this nigga in this tank and he just killing him. But then when we get back to it at the end of the movie, it's like, okay, that's not what happened. This guy fell in this tank. He's there, and he actually picks up like a bat or some shit, hammer, whatever it was, and he tries to like
It was a
break
wrench.
the wrench. He tries to break the tank and get him out, which was probably the fucking nicest thing we've seen with these two guys.
It just don't work, man. Why they keep trying to break niggas out like that? Shit not working.
Yeah, that shit don't work. They tried it twice in this movie. It don't work. You know, he did finally get the lady out of the tank too, but she was already dead at that point. So, and so he's
let me ask you this, bro. Like,
yeah,
when why do they automatically think he killed him if he trying to break the nigga out there though?
So this is what I'm thinking, Pujols, because I was gonna say something like that too. Michael Caine, who plays Cutter, he clearly sees bro banging on the tank, like trying to break it, and he runs over there. He's like, what did you do? And then he kind of he blames him for the murder of the dude. But I'm like, you see him trying to break him out the tank, and also in Borton's case, I'm like, wait a minute. Is this not your defense while you're in court that you was trying to help this guy? Or did that shit not matter? Like, did you say it or did you not say it? Because as the audience, we clearly saw what he was trying to do. But anyways, besides that, he gets framed for a murder that he did not commit, and he gets convicted of that murder, and he gets sentenced to the death penalty. They are going to hang him. And so we get to jail and shit. They let him see his daughter, this and that. He sells his fucking, his tricks or whatever, the secrets. And he sells it to what's the Lord guy's name, Luno? Anybody
That's
remember
Lord Kudlow.
Yeah, he sells the tricks to the Lord. Yeah, that Lord. Not Pujols, the other Lord. He sells the tricks to him, and then dude rips him up. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about the trips. He's like, yeah, I don't need this shit. Like, it doesn't matter how you did it, like, because I got the greatest trick ever. So I don't care about your secret.
And I'm a hole of you, bitch ass nigga.
Yeah, and he's like, wait. If he's alive, that means I'm not guilty or whatever. They wasn't trying to hear that shit. I also want to point out that the little guard that was there, he got hold when they was in jail. Like, he hold the fuck out that nigga.
Oh yeah,
that shit was funny as fuck. He hold the fuck out
that
that guard.
was funny.
But so yeah, he gets framed. He tells his daughter like, "Hey, I'm gonna come get you," or whatever he told her. "I'm gonna come see you like real soon," or something like that. I don't know what he told her. And he tells Fallon to take care of her. They go off, and we take
that shit is like just like that nigga character is just he want to be seen so bad. He had to go stun on that nigga like dumbass nigga. I'm still alive.
Yeah,
that's
that's
who he is, bro.
Yes,
exactly. Nigga's an attention whore, bro.
That's who he was. Well, he was one of them one-upping type of niggas. That's what it was. He wanted to one-up that nigga. And it did.
On that nigga though, bro.
He didn't give a fuck that dude was about to lose his daughter, and I think he said some shit like, "All I wanted to do was prove I was the better magician, but he wouldn't leave me alone," or some shit like that. That was his excuse.
That's all it was, bro. And that just kind of explains his character as a whole, bro. Like, okay, like back in the day, Lord meant like of high honor, like of high royalty. Like you own some shit. Like your name rung bells in every place where you went and where you wasn't at. Which means you had to step out of that to pretend to be some fucking stagehand so you can learn magic. So you can become now, after being wealthy as fuck, now you want to be a fucking famous magician.
That's all they
fucking
did.
What?
That's all they did in this movie was pretend. And so fucking Borden gets sentenced to the death penalty. They take him, they hang him, they ask him if he got any last words. What he told the guard before he walked away. Look, what he told the guard before he walked away, he was like, "Are you watching? Yeah, are you watching closely?" Or some shit, which is what they said at the beginning of the movie. Are you watching closely? They asked him if he got any last words before he get hung. He said, "Abracadabra." And they hung him immediately, too.
I'm not gonna lie, that shit was hard, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that whole scene, bro, that whole scene was the coldest scene in the whole shit, bro.
Yo, he
told the guard to his face, the same guard that he just hold a couple weeks ago. Are you watching closely? Last words, abracadabra. I'm out this bitch.
Hey, that shit was funny because that guard was trying to hold him in jail. And he actually flipped the script. Like, he did some magic shit and had a chain hooked to that nigga leg and he couldn't get out. So that shit was funny as fuck.
That shit was fire to me. Yo, that shit, they keep on demonstrating the 3-part scheme for a magic trick very often in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm inclined to say that the movie itself is the same exact thing. They present us like situations as if they're just like ordinary circumstances, and we treat them chronologically and shit. But then something like there's like a break in information, and then we start like questioning like the reality of certain parts. That would be like the turn. And then at the end, they bring the shit back quite literally plot wise, and everything comes full circle. I feel like they implemented that at several layers of meaning in this movie, and I guess that's something that we haven't gotten a lot in these picks, is sort of some intentional like plot crafting to, you know, with a kind of meaning behind it, you know. So it's interesting.
Yeah, that was by design. I feel like this was written well. They didn't really make any mistakes with this. And so what we get to is the hanging of him, and then Angiers goes back and he reveals himself to Cutter. He's like, "Whoa, wait, you still alive?" And oh, wait, I seen that little girl that's with you, and that's Borden's daughter, and this and that. And so, it's kind of revealed, he's still alive to Cutter. And then he goes somewhere. I don't
I
remember where he
believe he
went.
went back to his like either theater or
His
whatever
performance
plot he had.
theater,
Yeah,
Yeah,
his performance
the place that
area,
he was performing.
and he was there, doing something with the machine, I guess, trying to right. And then what's the other?
he
Borden
hears something.
appears. Well, yeah, he hears a noise and shines his lantern. I guess it was dimly lit, and
He thought
his
it was
lantern.
Cutter.
Yeah, his lantern revealed that it was in fact
Borden.
Borden, right? But this is kind of really where things are extremely interesting because apparently Borden and his assistant
Fallon.
Fallon, they were playing doubles of Borden. There were two of them.
The entire
And we
time.
find out that the two female leads in this movie were both in love with one of them, right?
Yep.
So that kind of flips a lot of shit on its head because the Borden that went to jail, he said like, "You're gonna live on for both of us," and he throws the ball to him, the same ball that he throws at unfortunately Algiers' body because dude came with a gun. Finally, instead of doing stupid pranks on one another, somebody just said, "I'm gonna take a weapon and shoot this nigga."
Shot the fuck out of him.
Up the blick on that goof ass nigga.
Holy
You know what
moly.
I found funny about that? It took Algiers it took him a fucking long time to die. He sat there talking for a long
That
ass
nigga had a
time.
whole ass conversation.
It was
Clear
a
ass
long
conversation.
conversation that he had when he
Bro,
got
he
shot.
got shot in the lung, bro. Ain't no way you got that much breath in you left to have a whole conversation.
Got shot, bro.
Nigga was asking questions, receiving answers, and giving statements. All that shit, bro.
Bro, he gave a whole monologue when he got
He
shot.
needed to know, Slim. He was wondering how he did it. He just needed to find out. Like then he could die peacefully. Oh, this
No,
bitch
he
ass
knew.
nigga
You know what happened,
Peacefully.
boy?
Nigga still died with lungs full of
No,
blood.
Pujols,
Goof
he
ass.
knew when he saw. He was like a twin. Y'all was twins. He said that shit. He just took forever to die. The nigga dramatic, like y'all said. He wanted to be seen. But basically, that's the entire movie, and that's the plot twist. I will say everything in this movie was intentional. So, I've seen it twice, so I kind of caught things that I didn't see the first time. Literally everything, like y'all said, was set up. Like Luno said, it was like they was revealing it to us the entire time. Like 17 minutes in, his wife was like, what she said? She was like, no, it was Angier. He told him that I couldn't imagine, living my whole life pretending to be somebody else or whatever the fuck, which he was also doing. They both was doing that same shit. And then he was arguing with his wife, and she was like, all the time he lived his act or whatever. So it was like little simple shit that they kept saying, type shit. Even with the little child that you said, the child with the bird, and everybody was like, oh, and he was like crying. Then they brought the bird back, but he was like, hey, but where's his
brother? Right.
And so that's like another thing. Like he told him, he was like, hey, this kid, he kind of sharp or some shit like that. Because it's like a parallel. He also is a double, like you said. He has a brother just like that bird did, quote unquote. And so I think it's like little shit that they kept throwing in there that was telling us the entire time. Even like Cutter.
Yeah, I said
Cutter
that
kept telling us, no, he got a double.
It's a double.
Even though Angier didn't want to hear that shit, it was true. And Cutter knew it the entire time. He kept telling us, the audience,
also,
no, it's a double.
Nigga got shot over that shit. We ain't talking about that. That nigga Cutter caught a bullet too.
Also, y'all did y'all talk about Christian Bale's the final disguise that he had, right? When he
talking about Fallon?
That's what we're talking about right now.
Talking about Fallon?
Yes. Yeah, his brother. His brother had the disguise.
We just talked about that.
So I kind of now that I think about it, I guess that's why the all the other disguises were so poor. So you can get like because that disguise was actually pretty good. Like he actually had prosthetics on and shit like that.
Facts. And what I'll say about that, which is something that y'all mentioned with the wife and everything, that I didn't want to say it then until we got to the plot twist, but the whole thing with the wife and her saying like you love me sometimes you don't, is because it was two different people. and they was both
right.
And
they was
which
both
that
switching.
I guess that makes sense and is less stupid to me now because like you can kind of like you can I guess she could tell, you know what I'm saying? And
She could tell,
subconsciously she could tell, okay,
right,
this is a
right,
person saying they love me,
and
and
he
then
means
this
it,
is a person that loves me
Yeah,
right.
you
type
know,
shit.
and
So
it's
I
so
guess
funny
that makes
because
sense.
that piece of dialogue can be interpreted so differently depending on the context you're given. Once everything is put together, it's like, oh, that's another thing that could mean. But prior, it's perfectly valid to just assume she's talking about the duality of his personality, right? Like
Hey,
the
Luno,
way,
and they kept
yeah,
saying shit like that too. They was saying like it was Angier's. I think he was talking about Borden. He was like reading the diary, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like his wife is getting tired of like his, you know, how did
His
he?
duality.
Yeah,
he said he
basically
was
Him living
fickle
two
and
lives. I think
like
that's what
his
it is.
fickle and like contradictive personality or whatever the fuck."
contradictory
Which
personality. Yeah,
that makes perfect sense because it was two different people, and so
yeah.
I like how they did that.
In which
Also,
I
yeah,
guess I can understand that. Maybe she felt like she was going crazy. Like at the end of the day, she was getting gaslighted by this nigga or gaslit
he
by this
was.
nigga
He was.
because he's saying, you know, I love you or whatever, and her response is, you know, some days you do, some days you don't. Which in her eyes, because she don't know the difference, she don't know it's a second person. She only dealing with
Yep.
one person. It's true. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that just drove her over the edge, but maybe that's grounds for divorce, not fucking hanging yourself.
But
Nah,
look,
That's
Roots,
just
I
you
that
know
that
what?
but
part I
look,
don't
She
get.
Roots,
Oh, you
there
can
was
like
something that happened right before that, and I noticed it because I knew what was happening already, so I was looking for like little shit. Something that happened right before that happened
she found out he
was
was with somebody else.
no, she knew that already. She knew that shit about the assistant, even though it wasn't him. You know, it was the other one. He said it at the end, like we was both in love with one of them. They was just switching back and forth, which I guess that kind of makes, you know, it helped keep the secret or the mystery, I guess, that they kept switching
Yeah,
back and forth and fucking with the women that they didn't even like type shit. But
yeah.
something that happened right before she hung herself was he got into the argument with her and he told Fallon, that's when he told Fallon, I need you to help me like convince her that I love her or something like that. And then I guess Fallon goes and talks to her. She comes back and she tells him specifically, she said, I know what you really are. And she was like, I can't live like this type shit. I'm getting from that she found out that they were twins. She found out he was a twin. And she was like, I can't live this way, which is the way that they were living before, switching back and forth. She's getting to be with two different people type shit. And so
No,
I'm thinking that kind of caused her because when she was like, to, you know, do you love me or whatever, he told her the truth. She told him no tricks, you know, no games or whatever, tell me the truth type shit. Because I'm thinking she already knows the truth now. And he tells her the truth for once because he's never told her the truth up to this point. He tells her, no, not today. And so I'm thinking she knows that, okay, this is not the dude. This is the twin or whatever. And
Yeah.
then after that scene is when she goes and kills herself. I think that was intentional. I think that's what that was.
Yeah, it's an interesting
suicide's
hypothesis,
still not
but the
warranted.
thing is that typically when we find out there's like a case of mistaken identity and the person in question is like somebody who an on-screen character has some desire to encounter, ideally like you would have that character say, you know, I know you're not the actual one, where are they at? I want them. And it's like if she did have pre-knowledge, then I think it would follow she would look to do something more in that vein. Because to me, such a violent emotional response to me would indicate some level of shock with the circumstances at hand. And if she's really like kind of on the know about this, I feel like she could just say, "Hey, well, give me the one that actually loves me." You know,
Well, I'll
like
say this, Luna. The reason I don't think
yeah,
that they could have went that route is
yeah.
because what they did with this movie, you know, they kept up the mystery the entire time. Whereas if she would have
For
went
our
that
sake,
route
or
saying that, yeah, for our sake, the audience. And so I feel like if she would have just said that flat out, then it's like, okay, now we know already.
so she
Whereas we don't have
basically, yeah. So
they were
she
keeping it ambiguous
basically
type shit.
Yeah, so they made her kind of kill herself as like part of the kind of distraction from the truth.
Right. And then that scene after she killed herself and he went with his assistant, this was like a whole fucking series of the truth. Because he told her the truth. He told her, I never loved her. Like a part of me did, but a part of me, the part that's sitting here right here with you, love you type shit. So he was kind of telling her the truth. He told both of
Without
them the
telling her.
truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, without actually saying it. They didn't say, a twin or no, he said a part of me because they would pretend to be the same person. But he was talking about his brother. And so I think they was just trying to be a little ambiguous without giving away that plot, the plot twist.
Yeah.
They were still kind of saying it at the same time.
And I guess it casts light at the end where she's sort of like, oh, you could be in a cafe with another girl just like me saying, these exact. So maybe she said that there's kind of no truth to like who anybody really is because they could just go and do the same shit they're doing now and some other, somebody else. Or so I don't know. That is pretty interesting though.
Overall
Yeah.
thoughts, man. What do y'all think about the movie as a whole?
Should we
We can
just
get
do
into
the
the ratings
Go down
ratings?
the
too.
list.
Yeah,
We can
let's
do
do the
both.
ratings.
Let's get into the ratings, man. We're gonna start with
Go
you,
ahead,
Art,
Art.
because you first, nigga. What you got? KTL almost he sent me his rating too. So.
But Art, kick it off. I think you say
All right, man. Let's skip Art and go to somebody else. Black Roots.
Now that we've, which I didn't see this happening, my rate was going to probably be kind of low. But now that we've talked through certain points of the movie and whatnot, I'm kind of just understanding it is for what it is, and, I think this movie accomplished its goal. It was a movie about magic and they made the movie based off of what magic is, which is those three properties that they introduced in the beginning of the movie. And so I like that concept actually makes this movie a lot more fire than I originally thought. Not to say that I'm gonna run back and watch it again because I'm probably not. This movie is long as shit, and I don't want to just sit and watch 2 hours of this shit again anytime soon. But um, we were discussing before, like I can't tell if this movie is clever or stupid or fire or ass. Like it seems like they're grasping at straws at a certain point, but they're just setting up the illusion for the final reveal at the end, in which the reveal to me was kind of corny. Oh, there's twins. Oh, there's this machine was actually cloning them. Oh, like that just it seems corny, but I get what they were doing. So overall, the movie was all right. Not trash. Not trash like I originally thought. If I had to give this movie a rating, I would say I would say a flat out 7.
All right.
My turn?
All right. Yeah, you there?
Yeah. I thought this movie was actually really good, man. Like, I'm not gonna point out a bunch of flaws because it's not very many other than the fact that it was pretty. Not that it was long, but it was just drawn out. Like it felt longer than it was, which was already long. But pause. But yeah, that was crazy. But no, but no, it was a good movie. I was interested in the movie, and I'm not really normally interested in movies like this. I like the characters for what they were. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give this like an 8.7, bro. I like this movie.
All right. Bob, are you there?
Yes, sir. This movie here was definitely more than fire, definitely more than good, might be more than great too. I felt like this movie had a lot to not only be interpreted, but to like be put together. I think a movie that can intentionally add like elements and have them all work together is a really special thing. Much like Shutter Island, I felt like this movie can leave viewers with like questions and conversations to be had in a way that is kind of philosophical compared to your usual like rundown action flick or whatever have you. So as like a thriller, a psychological film, it definitely succeeded. And yeah, the acting was actually brilliant. Thought the characters were executed seamlessly. I thought nobody seemed like they were forcing their part. Everybody kind of had their unique personality, and it was justified in every single way. I would say that the pacing of the movie ended up justifying itself in the end, but can definitely be disorienting for somebody who isn't ready for this genre, which will take you in pretty much any direction for the sake of its purpose, right? And I think this movie, in one word, could be summarized as essentially a movie of purpose. Overall, though, an excellent film. I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to watch this. FDub did his thing with this pick. I am in the art camp on this one. I was gonna give this film an 8.8, and I'm gonna stick by that rating. Great movie.
All right, Pujols.
I was like extremely entertained and extremely bored at the same time I was watching this shit. It's I don't know, bro. Like that shit, the twist was fire, but the build up to it was ass. Like the magic tricks didn't seem that fire to me. But these niggas was blowing that shit out the water. Oh god, I don't know how the fuck he doing this shit. We really gotta like my nigga just do the same shit, bro. Just use that drunk ass nigga to be you, bro. Shut your bitch ass up. Like it was just I don't know, bro. I liked it, but I didn't like it. I'm probably not gonna watch that shit again. I'm damn, I did like it though. I'm gonna go 6.5, bro. It was cool, but it wasn't for me though. 6.5.
All right. Shout out the drunk nigga. Hugh Jackman played both of those. He played his character, obviously, and that was also him as the drunk, out of work actor. I think he did a pretty good job with that. I think all of the acting in this movie was pretty good. For me, the pace was kind of slow. So I'm definitely interested in like magic shit. However, the pace was really slow. And with this being my second time watching it, I feel like I never really give the second times that great of a rating, as much as I do the first time, because like I know what's going on. The only thing differently was when I did Shutter Island, I saw it for the second time, and it was just as great because it's like I was watching an entirely different movie because I'm noticing things that I didn't notice before because I knew what was going on. With this, it's kind of the same situation to where I was looking for things that I didn't know before because the first time you watch something, you're trying to figure out what's going on. And the second time you watch it, you already know what's going on. So you kind of pick up on different, cues and clues and different things that lead to like the plot twist and shit that goes into the story. Overall, I think this movie is pretty cool. I don't think I thought it was amazing the first time I watched it. I thought it was pretty cool. I think the plot twist is kind of good, but also the first time I watched it, I didn't feel like they really gave us anything that would have led to us thinking that it was a twin. I think it was kind of something that was just thrown in there, but it was still, a cool explanation. And watching it back the second time, I see how everything kind of ties in and how they kind of gave hints the entire time. So, like, it's not a movie that I'm just jumping to go watch. Like, I kind of didn't really want to watch it. I wasn't excited about really watching it again, but it's still a cool movie. Overall, I think I'll give it a 7.5. And KTL gave me his rating, and he also gave it a 7. So with that being said, for the movie The Prestige, we have a 7.5 overall rating.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Pause.
with that being said, next week, episode 17 is brought to you by Art. And so Art will tell us now what the movie will be.
All right, man. I thought about this movie for a while, man. Or thought about my picks for a while, man. I'm gonna go with this movie. Spike Lee, Denzel Washington. Pujols, don't be mad at me, bro. Mo Better Blues.
All right, we
That
got a BAM, a BAM, black ass movie. It's lit.
nigga might as well recommend
Yeah,
it.
hold on, but this movie is a black ass movie, but it's a sophisticated black ass movie about some suave brothers, bro. So
1990 Mo Better Blues, man.
You might as well recommend it. Big Mama's House, bro. That's the same
no,
shit.
don't do this, bro. Don't do that, bro. This ain't Big Mama's house.
Also got Wesley
Hey,
Snipes.
Pool, this gonna be a type movie, man. I promise, man.
Nigga said Mo Better Blues.
All right, man. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, man. We are out.